Good evening. Welcome to everybody, and thanks for coming out tonight in your busy schedules to be part of our back-to-school night. We're going to start the night with a time of prayer, and then we'll sing together. We have a hymn that we'll sing, and then I have some things that I'll be speaking on, and some other people will be speaking on here. And then after that, we'll go back into the classrooms, and you'll have time with the teachers in the classrooms following that. Following the time in the classrooms, you'll be able to move. I know some of you have multiple children, so we'll go around and ring a bell or make some noise at the hall so that you know that it's time to go to that other class, and the teacher will probably be finishing in the other classes, so you know that you can go in and listen to the end, and then she'll present some of the things that you missed from the beginning part of their talk. If you're like me and you have ADHD, you just stay for the second part anyway because you probably missed some of that anyway, first time around, and that's okay too. So let's go to the Lord in prayer, and let's just pray together and thank Him. Lord, we thank You for this school year. We thank You for a semblance of normalcy that You've given us and our children, that they're able to come to school, they're able to see each other, they're able to communicate with each other, and able to have just a normal school year as much as we can possibly provide that for them. We thank You for getting us through times through this past year and a half, or however long it's been that we've been through this time of pandemic. We thank You for protecting our school last year, that we didn't have any problems to speak of, as Your grace to us and the hedge of protection that You put around us. And we're thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the teachers who came and volunteered to serve these children and give of their time and volunteer their time after school and during lunch. And I just see them go the extra mile, and I'm just thankful for You bringing them to us and their heart to serve in this ministry and to serve You, and their love for these children. And I'm thankful for parents that You continue to bring to us and continue to guide to our school. We're just grateful for their trust, and pray that we would always live up to the great responsibility that we've been given. And we pray Your blessing on this school. We pray Your protection on our families, and pray for those who are suffering and those who have suffered loss this last year and that are suffering even right now. Lord, You know them. You know them in our hearts and our minds, our prayers, and we just pray You comfort them and help them. And we just pray You give us a great year and great field trips and events and feasts and things that we can just look forward to and our children can get excited about. And pray You bless this time. Pray You bless our conversation and be with us and guide us, that we will have productive and conversations, and just also pray You be with us at our time of worship. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, Mrs. Jorgensen, you want to play? Thanks for coming out. Mrs. Jorgensen is going to play for us hymn number 521 in our hymnal. You can stand. We sing this hymn every year to start our school year. So the whole first week, our students are singing "He Who Would Valiant Be." It's the blue hymnal. It's 521. The hymn comes from A Pilgrim's Progress. And so that's a book written by John Bunyan. So it's a blue hymnal number 521. It's a hymn written by John Bunyan while he was incarcerated and for preaching. And he wasn't preaching in an Anglican service, so he got arrested. He wrote this great A Pilgrim's Progress book, and this hymn is part of that. And it reminds us and reminds our students that we are pilgrims. It reminds us what our first role is, that this is not our home, but heaven is our home, and we need to have that perspective. So hymn 521. So let's start the night. I'll introduce our staff, especially for those of you who are new to the school. I see a lot of new faces that haven't been here in the past, so you probably don't know all of our staff. So I'll just call out. I'll go by grade, and you can get up and do your politician's wave or your Miss America wave to everybody. No need to applaud at all. We haven't done anything yet for applause or boos, so you can hold both of those things back. Junior kindergarten. Mrs. Hillman's our junior kindergarten teacher. And stand up. A wave. There you go. Mrs. Maddox is kindergarten. First grade, Mrs. Smith. Second grade, Mrs. Rosh. Third grade, Mrs. Thompson. Fourth grade, Mrs. Fry. Fifth grade, Mrs. Featherman. I teach sixth grade. I'm the afternoon homeroom teacher for sixth grade, kind of primary point person in sixth grade. Mrs. Lamboy's the AM homeroom teacher for sixth grade, also Latin and sixth grade composition. So she teaches a number of sixth grade classes as well. Seventh grade and eighth grade, primary teacher for omnibus and several other classes. Mrs. Olson for seventh and eighth grade, she's over there. And also Mrs. Hancock teaches in seventh and eighth grade, or sixth, seventh grade. So Mrs. Hancock, and then afternoon kindergarten, Mrs. Walker, is she here? Don't see Mrs. Walker. Okay, Mrs. Walker's new this year. She teaches our afternoon kindergarten. And then the afternoon junior kindergarten, Mrs. Reisig is over here. She teaches in the afternoon junior kindergarten. Mrs. Acantillo is not here. She does aftercare for us. And Mrs. Crow does fourth grade. That's kind of new. Mrs. Crow doing fourth grade assistant this year. She's usually our kindergarten assistant and also does before care. And Mrs. Ebersol is our administrative assistant in the school. You can applaud for her. She deserves it. She does a lot around the school. Knew the teachers would want an applause there. Who did I forget? Okay, well, Mrs. Ebersol, you want to talk to them real briefly about forms while I introduce you? You might, because we do have some people streaming. That would be good.
So 2 important things that parents really need to know about are My Schoolworks and Dream Box. So My Schoolworks is a great tool. You can get it on the computer, and they have an app that has a lot more ability this year, has a lot more to offer than it has in the past. But you are able, through My Schoolworks, to view your students' grades, to send and receive emails from teachers, to look at the school calendar, and to receive alerts about school closures and other important events through My Schoolworks. So if you do not know if you are on that, or you know that you're not on that, please come to my desk and I'll be able to walk you through getting that set up. And then Dream Box is the math tool that we use to help supplement math for all of our students. And if you are not on that or your student's not on that, again, come to my desk and I'll be able to help you get that set up. And I also have all the forms that need to be signed as far as covenants for the parents. I have those at my desk as well.
Mrs. Harris, are you here? Oh, there you are. Ms. Harris is going to do fundraising. You're going to be the fundraising coordinator this year. Did you want to just say hi? And is there anything about Jogathon that?
Yes, everybody should be silent. One of the first things we're going to be doing is Jogathon coming up on Friday, October 8th. Everybody should receive a packet in your food holders on Friday. Please sign up as an impressive way if you've not already done it in years past. Figure it out and they run around the playground for about an hour. Fifth grade is really fun, but I think we're getting through this year. In February, February 26th, is the winter ball. We did last year and this year. It's another fantastic event with the parents. Evening of dining and fellowship and just kind of a fun. So that's coming as well. Again, would love to have some folks to help out with planning with us and figuring it out. So looking forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for taking that on. We restructured things a little bit. Mrs. Jen Fry was doing our marketing and development, and also running the winter ball for us. And she's now moved on. Her son went to high school. She doesn't have any other children in the school, so we just decided, having a fundraising coordinator, our school board thought that would be a good direction for us to go in, and we're taking some of the marketing and all the work that Jen did to set up a really good marketing program for us. We're just able to take that in-house this year, so we won't have a marketing and development director this year. Instead, we have a fundraising coordinator. One of the things about Jogathon I will mention is that we are upping the incentives for that. We're trying to get everybody excited about that. We've always done cash prizes of $175 and $50 for the top 3 people who raise the most money, but we wanted to create a little competition. So for everybody loves the dress down days, and so a pizza party, dress down days, and then I've done prize box for Dream Box that the kids kind of get excited about. It's usually Five Below stuff, but they love that stuff, and like little gift cards in there or things like that. So the 2 classes that raise the most money, now that is, we're going to look, if it's a class of 6 and a class of 15, we're dividing it out so it's equitable, you know, between how many kids are in the class. But so per person, divide it out, and we'll figure out the math on that. Whoever raises the most money, we're going to be able to have a pizza party, a dress down, and prizes for those classes. So when the kids find out about it, they will probably be excited. More about the dress down than anything. So be ready for that. They'll be talking to you. Let me see. I wanted to thank our school board as well. Mr. Mark Hammett's streaming for us back there. He's on our school board in the sound room. Thank you, Mark. And Mr. Kavrek was here today. We had a water pipe burst in the bathroom, and Pastor Jorgensen was trying to deal with it, and it went all over, and the water pipe burst in the bathroom. So that's why the hall's a little bit wet down there. And Mr. Kavrek, we called him, and he fixed that for us. So he was able to be here very quickly and get the water stopped and get everything fixed and get us back where we could turn the water back on in the building. So always something going on. But Mr. Kavrek's also one of our founding members with Mr. Hammett, our pastor. Reverend Jorgensen is also a founding board member. He's the chairman. Mr. Fry is our chairman ex officio, also serves on the board. Mrs. Sims, who you might have known if you're here before, she had been on our school board for 9 years and is not continuing because all of her children are out of school. So she will be replaced this year, and there will be someone else serving on the school board taking her place. So she'll be missed, especially after 9 years of service, and our staff will miss her as well. A couple of themes this year I want you to be aware of is we're trying to teach the children, and we're trying to remind ourselves that we always want to leave things better than we found them. And so we're teaching them to clean up after themselves. Make sure if you see it, it doesn't matter if it's yours, pick it up. Keep the place neat, keep the place tidy. I think that's just a really good life skill. And also because this is God's house, we want to keep it extra nice. And so we're really driving that point home. Let's everybody pitch in together and keep the place really well this year. We're also focusing on rules of civility and decent behavior, as in my chapel talks with them. That's Washington's rules of civility. They're not really his rules of civility. They're like 16th century rules of civility that were passed down to George Washington. And it's how we should treat one another. Things that are really reflective of the things that we see in the Bible about how we should put others before ourselves. And so they're doing a memory verse right now, Philippians 2:3, about putting other people's interest in front of your own and being selfless, essentially. So I'll have talks with them around that theme and around Washington's rules of civility and decent behavior. I want to talk to you a little bit about morning and afternoon pickup and drop off. We changed that last year with COVID. It's always difficult, and we have more students this year even than we did last year, and so we're just we're trying to make that go as smoothly as possible, and that's why I put the cones up. We have the teachers parking on the side to kind of clear out the parking lot. We started doing that last year really for COVID so we can get the kids outside. We're trying to get them outside more throughout the year. Mrs. Walker. Afternoon kindergarten. But we're trying to get that down. We have the cones, and when you come in, going around the cones and following the line is really important. Last year we had people running over cones and making a quick U-turn and cutting in front of people, which those people were obviously not happy about. And so we're just trying to limit the confusion of some of the things we had. My son, my high school age son, he goes to Carroll Christian School, and day one someone was hit on the parking lot. And you say, wow, that shouldn't happen. And it's just what happens when you have kids walking, and things happen very quickly. I was here going to a soccer game after school. I had a whole load of kids in my car. Of course, it was a bit of commotion, but that really wasn't the issue. I was backing out fairly slowly, and a child in the van next to me very quickly jumped out of his vehicle and ran behind my back wheel. His grandfather, who was upper 70s, dove into the parking lot, knocked the boy away from the back tire, rolled on the parking lot in order to save him from getting run over. It happens that quick. I knew the man, he's a friend of our family, and I felt horrible because I thought I could have ran this kid over. I mean, it was the only reason I knew to stop is because he hit the back of my car, and I thought I hit something. I thought I hit him and sent him flying. So I felt horrible. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I just froze, like, can't believe that just happened. My car was hit in the parking lot, just sitting there. I watched it. I was standing up at the building. Someone was, I don't know if they were texting while they were driving. I just watched, bam, into my car, and I went, oh, that's going to be interesting. But things happen very quickly, and I'm very aware of how quickly someone can get run over, someone can get hit. When you're on the parking lot, do not text, take a phone call, drive quickly, and just try to follow that traffic line. We're trying to make it clear, give you enough room to come in. When we're dropping off in the morning, if the upper school can just stay closer to the building and the lower school can make that turn and come around and then stop with enough room that when the upper school drops off, they get through that spot and can get out. I think everything will go pretty smoothly. I think it's been going pretty smoothly out there. In the afternoon, not so much. And I think it's primarily because some of us are just getting here like early for the second pickup, and then there's just a lot of people there. And we're trying, and if you're gonna get here early, that's fine. I would just park on the side and just maybe back into a spot so that when it's time to come out for for the lower school pickup, second grade and down, then you can come out and get in line, and we're not backing things up for the upper school while we're trying to get third grade and out and get those people out, because that's when we're getting backed up in the afternoon. So if you can get here, if you get here before 3:20, that's fine. Maybe park on the side instead of trying to get in line. We're going to actually put cones up in blocks so you can't get in line early. I think that'll maybe solve that. So you'll have to loop around and we're just going to tell people to park so that the upper school can get out. I say upper school, it's really third grade and up that we're dismissing from the gym. We started to do that during COVID, and it worked really well because there's more room in there and we don't have to yell as loudly to get kids out. And with COVID, it helps us to space everybody out and keep space, keep the grades separated and all that stuff. So the more you can do to help us with that, the smoother that goes for everybody. Regarding COVID, thanks be to God that we were able to be in person last year. We're able to be here and learning in person this year. And we really had very few problems last year, even with the quarantining that we are doing. We're still following the quarantining. We're still asking. Really, the issue is if you are sick or someone in your family has COVID, or someone you're in close contact with, follow that sheet that we sent home. It is different for vaccinated and non-vaccinated people, so it's hard for me to know, and I don't need too much information, just kind of, hey, my husband got COVID, you know, we're gonna be staying off for a while, and that way we know that we need to put you on, we need to get the kids on our our streaming, get them their work sent home, whether that's scanning and sending you what you need by email, or usually someone can't come up and pick up. So we've been scanning and sending work home so that we can get the work home and stay up on it. And we've been also asked the teachers to be very gracious in when people do have to miss, just making sure we get what's necessary back from the students to move them on. We're just manage it the best way we can. It's obviously not ideal, but when your children are sick, just keep them home. That's the best policy, so then we're not just sending them home when you send them in, because if they're sick, they have to be home. I had a question about, what if they have allergies or that type of thing, and we know when we have allergies, we know what they look like. There's one student last year who had really bad allergies, and we just knew that student had allergies. He was going to have those symptoms, and managing that sometimes is difficult, and we have to do the best that we can. But if the student's starting to show those symptoms that we said, and it's not just an allergy symptom, they've got headache, or if they're younger, they have diarrhea, or whatever it is that main those symptoms, play it safe for the good of everyone, because then when you don't, then we got to quarantine the whole class, maybe multiple classes, and that really can be problematic. So last year we really only had 2 times, and it was right before Easter break, spring break, and so we did shut down 2 weeks last year around spring break, a week, and then we had spring break. So it was a planned week, but it was 2 weeks, and that was fine. And then we had one other incident throughout the year, but we were able to manage it because I think everyone was really paying attention to it. Let me see here. Yeah, so the main thing is when someone is out and they are sick or they have come in close contact with someone who has COVID or they have COVID, we just want you to have a primary care physician. PCP is primary care physician in our plan, release you back to the school. So they'll make the decision. I don't need Carroll County Health Department. I'm not going to call Carroll County Health Department. I don't need to get a call from them, but I do need to hear from the primary care physician, or we do at the school. We have several, but it's really mostly me and Mrs. Eversole that we're managing that primarily in the school. But we do have several people that we go to for advice, and so we have someone who's on the COVID team at Greater Baltimore Medical. We have someone who's a safety director at Anne Arundel Community College. We have a number of medical people that also give us advice, and we're able to go to them when we have questions regarding COVID and our policies. They will be changing as the year goes on. I had mentioned that before. We will change as things change, and we'll do our best to keep things basically the way they are right now. I know I had a question about that. I can't predict the future. I can't tell you what's going to happen down the road. I mean, public school was going back without masks. Now they're with masks on the 15th, and now they're challenging that, and it's back and forth, and what's going to happen? Are they going to ask us to do anything? I don't know. Right now, the only thing that they've mandated is that we wear masks when we're on a school bus and we're going on a field trip or something like that. That's the only thing that's mandated. Everything else are suggestions, and then we've applied those suggestions and how they best fit our school, which I think is a very good situation to be in for us this coming year. The other thing I was making aware of is the peanut and tree nuts. Don't bring them in this year. Again, this is a changing situation. We did that last year, and we're continuing it this year. We are eating in the gym. There are some times that some classes will be in the classroom to eat. We were talking about JK and K today and just how we're moving things around, and sometimes they might need to, if we have bad weather, eat in the classroom and some other classes as well. So it just allows us to be much more flexible too when we're doing that. So just don't send in tree nut or peanut peanut products. I did have a question about, like, what if it's in a facility or something like that? That doesn't matter. You're not going to share that anyway. Kids aren't allowed to share. We're not talking about that. We're talking about bringing in crackers with peanut butter or pecans and stuff like that. That we have some children who have really serious allergies, and for that to be in the classroom is very problematic because they can pick that up and it's life-threatening. And so that's why we made that change. When we started eating in the classroom, during COVID. Let me think here. I think that's all the policies and things that we need to talk about. Am I forgetting anything else? Teachers, why don't you head back to your classrooms, and then I'll send everybody down in just a sec. If that's good with you. While they're doing that, I just really want to thank all of you for entrusting your children with us. And I want you to know that we do our absolute best to give them a rigorous education, one in which we hope they'll love. And in a time where it seems like the world's going crazy in so many ways, and some of the things that kids are just exposed to in the public system, I just think investing in your children's education is something that's going to pay off for you all more than we can even imagine as things change in the world around us. I was listening to a woman who was in North Korea and escaped, and she was in China, and she was in South Korea, and she ended up coming to the United States, and just her story was so moving in so many ways, and she ended up in Columbia University, and she just couldn't believe how higher education, the things that they're teaching, and the things that they're teaching about our country and about our founding values that this nation was founded on. And those are Christian values. Those are Judeo-Christian values, that all people individually have rights that are inalienable. And she just said, it seems like they want us to be like North Korea and China. And I heard her just speak about some things that were just horrible to hear someone speak about, that she had to suffer through. And I thought, wow, this is something we're doing that's very good for our children. I put my children through Christian education, and they still are being educated even though they're in high school and in college. That education is one that will pay off, that your investment. And I thank you for making it on behalf of your children. And I want you to know we're just going to do everything we can to make it the best that we can in the situation and circumstances that we find ourselves in today. And we're never going to give up on ideas like truth, goodness, and beauty. We're going to teach that, and we're going to teach them the things of God, and we're going to teach them to have a Christian worldview. And if you're on board with that, then you're definitely in the right place. So hopefully you know the direction you need to go. Lower school down here, except this year we changed, and 4th grade is on the upper school side. So that's the only thing that might be confusing. Mrs. Fry is on that side of the building. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, everybody's down here, and 4th and up are on the other side over there. If you have any questions.